summer 1989 blockbuster film Batman, starring Michael Keaton as the Caped Crusader and Jack Nicholson as the Joker, was released in cinemas to critical acclaim and financial success, spawning sequels, video games, merchandise, and more. Hi, I'm Matt Braxton, and if you're a fan of Batman '89 like I am, or you're just feeling a tad nostalgic, join me as I take a look back at the film's inception, the film itself including promotional material, a recap of the plot and reception, Batman merchandise like the hit Nintendo game, and where creatives would take Michael Keaton's Batman character and world next. Here is my look back at 1989's Batman. The 1960s were known for many things, but television-wise for Gilligan's Island, Bewitched, Addams Family, and, of course, Batman. The 1966 Batman television show starring Adam West as Batman and Burt Ward as Robin was a major hit, prompting an immediate feature-length film to be produced based off the show called Batman the Movie. The film was released only months after the show began. While the Batman show and film were popular, many felt they acted almost as a parody of the Batman property, satirizing the goofier 50s Comics Code era that attempted to protect young readers from violent depictions. True Batman comic fans, remembering the original darker tone of the character, which the comics would ultimately return to in the 70s, wanted something less campy and more serious. This was exactly how Michael Uslan, executive producer for the film, described his own feelings in a documentary about the making of the '89 Batman film, titled Shadows of the Bat.
Batman created just a universe that I could really believe in. And I always regretted that as my favorite character in comics, it had not ever quite been portrayed the way I thought that Bob Kane and company really intended it to be. And I really wanted to see that creature of the night emerge and let the world at large see that there is more to Batman than pow, zap, and wham.
The tonal shift of the Batman comics in the 1970s played a large part in allowing the '89 Batman film to have such a tone. The 70s comic tone shift was led by Steve Englehart. Englehart was known for his Marvel Comics works, and was set to leave the comic book industry altogether due to a revolving door of editors, lack of teamwork, and overall negative work environment at the time at Marvel Comics. Before Englehart was able to switch fully to writing novels, he was approached by DC to fix their Justice League of America comics for, at the time, DC was riding off their characters' popularity, but were failing to meet audience expectations. A fate that ironically mirrors the struggles of modern DC and Warner Brothers executives. Englehart agreed and, alongside Justice League, recreated the Batman character in an 8-issue Detective Comics run. Englehart's Batman run was pulpy and brought back the original darker tone. In fact, Englehart's Batman run was cited as arguably fans' best-loved version of Batman in the mid-1970s by DC Comics executive Paul Levitz. He went on to say that writer Steve Englehart and penciler Rogers' detective run featured an unambiguously homicidal Joker in noirish, moodily rendered stories that evoked the classic Kane Robinson era. Englehart believes to this day, though uncredited in the final film, that Batman '89 was largely influenced by his short run of Detective Comics, and we will see why very soon. Though a darker Batman film was desired by many Batman fans, writers, and others within the film industry, one film alone allowed the new Batman film to even be considered as a possibility. Superman. Richard Donner's Superman was released in 1978 to critical praise and was highly successful financially. The film launched lead Christopher Reeve into stardom and led to the release of 3 sequels. In fact, Superman was so successful that one of the initial scripts for Batman was very similar to the film.
but I guess in what, 1985, Tim, there was a preliminary script that was it more comic?
Was it what?
Was it a little bit more comically oriented?
Yeah, it was actually a lot like, I felt, and it was a lot like the structure of Superman. It was sort of kind of a similar take on it. I think this is very different from Superman and should be different. And so it took a while to get to the right tone, I think.
In 1986, after Tim Burton was hired to direct the film treatments were written by Steve Englehart, the man responsible for Batman's tonal shift in the 70s, and Julie Hickson. Sam Hamm wrote the initial screenplay. There were many versions of the original script funneled to and doctored by Steve Englehart to match the tone of his popular Batman comic run in the 70s, that of which was similar to the original Bob Kane era. While many resources claim the tone of the film was influenced by the recently released Killing Joke and Dark Knight Return novels, even adapting the Joker's Red Hood origin story featured in The Killing Joke, Englehart insists the film's pulpy tone was more so influenced by his run of Batman in the 70s. In fact, characters such as Silver St. Cloud and Rupert Thorne that Englehart created were used in initial drafts of the film before they were altered by the studio without Englehart's knowledge to Vicky Vale and Carl Grissom. Initial drafts of the film also included Robin and the Penguin, but were ultimately scrapped to allow for a more clear focus for both the story and tone. After Hamm dropped out of the film shortly before filming due to the '88 writer's strike, others including Warren Scarron did additional rewrites. The man who would don the Batman cowl, Michael Keaton, was selected after a large pool of leading men turned down the role due to concerns of having their faces covered for the majority of the film. In fact, before Keaton was considered, the studio wanted Bill Murray to be Batman. Keaton's casting was controversial due to his comedic typecast and audience doubt over Keaton's ability to successfully portray such a serious role. Tim Burton's Batman, starring Michael Keaton, was only greenlit after the success of Burton's Beetlejuice in 1988, which proved to executives that the Burton-Keaton duo worked well together and were able to rake in cash. Jack Nicholson accepted the role of the Joker after the studio agreed to give him top billing, a portion of ticket and merchandise sales, and his own shooting schedule.
It was really practical about how he worked. And he's unbelievably professional and unbelievably disciplined. But he says clearly, I don't come to work before 9:30 or 10. I'm just, and they said, well, Jack, we start like 6. He says, yeah, but I don't get in till like 3:30 in the morning. So he's very practical. And they said, oh, well, that makes sense. You need your sleep. You've been out all night. So Jack would, so I'd be in makeup like hours before, or everybody would kind of be there. And it wasn't an arrogant thing at all. He was just very reasonable. He walks in and I'm in makeup like this, and I'm sitting there, and he comes in with his hair looking like it looks. And he goes, and every morning it was like this. I'd walk in and go, morning, Keats. And then I'd go into makeup, which was extensive, and just go like that, just go. And sleep.
According to Shadows of the Bat, it took a horse ride to convince Nicholson to play the part.
I didn't want this to go through the normal, let's brighten it up for the kids, you know what I mean? I thought this was a very strong, in every way, transitional movie about the genre, and really why they wanted me in there. In other words, on a superficial level at that moment, it gave it, this is not just another cartoon movie.
It changed the nature of the comic framework into a film, from a movie into a film with the inclusion of Jack Nicholson.
So Tim had to convince Jack that he was right.
And I remember we went up to Aspen, and Jack says, let's go riding. He's gonna meet Tim Burton. And Tim says, I don't ride. I said to him, you do today, And there's a picture of him on the horse with Jack, and Jack's a good rider, a really good rider, and Tim Burton looks like he discovered God on that horse.
I was terrified, and it's like, I'm out with Peter Guber and Jack Nicholson on horseback, up in Aspen. I'm going, I didn't realize this was, horseback riding was part of my job description, but it was, it was a surreal moment.
He was not a happy camper, but he did it, and Jack committed to the project. I don't know because of the horse riding, but I think that they had a good bonding there. And that moved the project yet further ahead.
Speaking of horse rides, Sean Young was initially cast in the role of Vicky Vale after Kim Basinger and the studio couldn't reach a payment agreement. Unfortunately, Young fell off of a horse during pre-production stages of the film and was injured. The scene she was preparing for, Bruce and Vicky riding horses together at Wayne Manor, was ultimately cut from the film altogether, but ended up remaining in the novelization of the film by Craig Shaw Gardner. Young's injury caused her to not be able to go on with production, and the studio returned to Kim Basinger to replace Young. The main cast of Keaton, Nicholson, and Basinger ended up being perfect for the production of 1989's Batman. With a $48 million budget, principal photography began in October 1988 at Pinewood Studios and wrapped in January the following year, leaving just 5 months for the film to be edited and completed before its June 23rd release.
It was Tim's vision. It was his eye. You know, once you bought that eye. The question was, how much does it cost and where can you make it less expensive? Not cheap, less expensive, or as inexpensively or as controlled as possible. And that brought us to England to do that.
Pinewood Studios seemed like a really prime candidate because it had the space and it had a backlot area where you could build out on, which was nice. And it was, had the artists and, talented people to make a project like that go. And for me, it's a way of sort of being away from all of the business side. We were trying to focus on the movie, which was important and good, and kind of away from all of the hype that was back in America about it.
At the time, people tend to forget Batman was the biggest movie of all time, most expensive movie. And there was a lot of people's careers riding on this thing, especially at the Warner Brothers end. A lot of money involved in this thing. The set at Pinewood Studios was spectacular. There was nothing like Gotham City.
Vicky Vale.
Hi. Bruce Wayne.
And what do you do for a living?
A trailer released in December 1988, helping to squash ideas that Keaton wasn't right for the role, and despite being mostly a rushed clip show of the film, it was played in thousands of theaters during the 1988 holiday season.
Winged freak terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
Batman's coming out this summer. What do you think it's going to be like?
Oh, I can't wait. I love Michael Keaton. He's one of my favorite funny people. And I love Jack Nicholson, and I love the trailer. I love the whole thing. I'm ready to go.
How do you think Michael Keaton's going to be as Batman?
Sexy.
But the only thing I could have changed about it was letting me play the babe.
It's just so intense with, how he comes swooping in on all these scenes in that car. Man.
I love the Batmobile. It looks so cool. Yeah. I wish I could ride in it.
And what was your favorite part of the whole trailer?
When Michael Keaton comes in and says, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. So be sure to get your popcorn early so you don't miss the Batman trailer. It may be better than the movie that follows it. I'm Christopher Chisholm for Movie Time.
The trailer was highly successful in building hype for what would become one of, if not the most, iconic Batman film adaptations of all time.
Hello. Gotham Corner Store? Yes, we seem to be down to our last Diet Coke. A gentleman is on his way to pick some up. Just look for a black car. No, this black car will be rather difficult to miss. And by the way, the gentleman is usually in quite a rush.
Just for the taste of it, Diet Coke!
Aside from the film's official trailer, there were many promotions and product tie-in deals to help build hype for the summer blockbuster. The phenomenon known as Batmania began in the months leading up to the film's release. Though Tim Burton was reportedly annoyed with the publicity, people were excited for a darker, pulpier version, a version closer to the comics of their favorite comic character, the Batman. In fact, this Batmania helped to sell over $750 million worth of merchandise. Comic book writer Kevin Smith was quoted as saying, "You couldn't turn around without seeing a bat signal somewhere. It was just the summer of Batman, and if you were a comic fan, it was pretty hot."
The adventure continues. Now with Batman, the cereal. It's here. A smashing taste. A honey nut flavored part of your complete breakfast. Batman cereal.
There was even Batman cereal that sometimes included a piggy bank resembling Keaton's Batman as a prize, or a free comic book. Some boxes even offered the chance to win a free kids drivable Batmobile. Speaking of winning a Batmobile,
Screaming metallic mass, sleek super technology, and it's been stolen. Who's got the guts to steal Batman's ultimate weapon? Well, this reporter suspects it might be you.
Steal the Batmobile!
there was a Batmobile giveaway through MTV, helping to promote the film and only instilling further Batmania into fans. MTV's Steal the Batmobile contest would allow one lucky winner to receive the film's Batmobile and $25,000. The lucky winner was 23-year-old Patrick McGlenn from Richmond, Virginia, who called in about 20 times. Unfortunately, the Batmobile was not a working car, rather a supposed replica prop, lacking an engine, though despite the replica plaque provided, McGlenn was suspicious that the car was a real movie prop. Because of the specific contract McGlenn had to sign, he was not able to display the car for money and was eventually audited by the IRS for the winnings, claiming he owed $70,000. Though cool to own, the Batmobile giveaway ended up being more of a burden to McGlenn than anything else, unfortunately.
Steal the Batmobile. MTV's your accomplice. Of course, I wouldn't want the Batman mad at me, but that's your affair. Anyway, if you've got the cojones, we've got the car.
MTV Steal the Batmobile. Watch June 18th to win. This MTV contest sponsored by Warner Brothers and Pepsi.
Also following the release of the trailer for the film, Keaton and Basinger began separately appearing on programs such as Letterman to promote and further build hype for the film.
I have a feeling, although you and I have never discussed this before, that for you being in a movie, any movie with Jack Nicholson, was probably like the achievement of a small dream you had someplace.
Absolutely. It's truly one of a kind, man. And when one day he looked over at me, we're both being made up in our suits. And he just looks at me and says, "Well, we just gotta let the wardrobe do the acting, kid." And that's true. After a while, man, you just work the suit, you know?
Despite accidentally spoiling the Joker's twist live on air.
So now, what is the deal? He's obviously the Joker.
Yeah.
And you're Batman.
Yeah.
And what happens? What has he done to irritate you?
Bruce Wayne witnesses the murder of his parents when he's a kid.
And the Joker had done that?
Yeah, but he doesn't know it till later.
I see.
I'm kind of blowing the plot here.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like nobody's going to go see it now.
Well,
he
now
explained it.
What's the
Screw
point?
that. It's Raiders of the Ark again or whatever.
That's right.
But
it didn't matter. Batmania was everywhere. People were so excited about the film, some film critics pointed to the film as more of a corporate behemoth than a movie. Keaton even touted at one point in the Letterman interview he was following George Bush in the city, the president at the time, and people were calling out to Keaton, calling out to Batman. The film premiered as Warner Brothers' big summer blockbuster on June 23, 1989, with the Westwood screening 4 days earlier, and was, right off the bat, a major hit. But before we look into the film's success, let's take a look back at the film itself. Though somewhat dated in execution, Batman, released in 1989, is ultimately a film about a love triangle revolving around Kim Basinger's Vicky Vale. As well as Bruce Wayne's struggle between love and duty. Junior reporter Alexander Knox develops a crush on Vale while working with her on a project to shed light on the mysterious Batman character that has begun appearing around Gotham. Knox's crush is played for laughs as Vale eventually begins to set her sights on billionaire philanthropist Bruce Wayne. Bruce, Batman, also falls for Vale. In fact, in original script drafts, Knox was supposed to be the one to discover Bruce was Batman and blackmailed him to stay away from Vale. The Joker attempts to steal Batman's beautiful press girl, jealous of Batman's media coverage. So while there is a sort of love triangle between Bruce, Knox, and the Joker, all attempting to make Vicky Vale their own, the film is also about the line between love and duty, as well as the downsides of vanity, but let's take a look at the film itself before we analyze, right? I'll give you a quick film recap. Here is 1989's Batman. Before the film begins, audiences are treated to the Danny Elfman Batman theme, which would become a classic, iconic theme for the character, while the opening credits play. The credit design is a neat idea, with the camera moving around what at first appears to be a rocky structure like the Batcave, only to pull out to reveal the bat symbol. The film begins in a highly stylized, pulpy and gothic Gotham City, as two parents with a young boy, mirroring the Wayne family tragedy, attempt to make their way through the city and are robbed at gunpoint. Batman is slowly revealed and stops the criminals, ordering them to tell their friends about him.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
In the next scene, Harvey Dent pledges to stop crime boss Carl Grissom, the root of corruption in the city. As this happens, the camera pulls out to reveal Jack Nicholson's character Jack Napier, who is Carl Grissom's right-hand man.
You are my #1 guy.
An important line in the film comes when Carl Grissom's girl, Alicia, who's having an affair with Jack, says,
"You don't worry about anything, do you, Jack?"
Which is immediately followed with Jack checking his appearance in the mirror, bringing up the concept of vanity and beauty.
"You look fine."
I didn't ask.
Jack's self-image, his looks, are what he views as most important to him, the only thing he is concerned about. This hints that later, when Jack would lose his looks, losing the only thing he cares about would be what ultimately leads him to snap. Junior reporter Alexander Knox is then seen questioning Lieutenant Eckhart about the mysterious bat creature attempting to get his first big paper hit.
Lieutenant, is there a 6-foot bat in Gotham City? And if so, is he on the police payroll? And if so, what's he pulling down? After taxes.
Knox is written as the everyman to help ground the film and provide comedic relief, and was, apparently, the character that Steve Englehart and others tried to cut completely or reduce the role of in the story as to not pull attention away from the main focus of Batman versus the Joker. Eckhart is revealed to be on Grissom's payroll, helping to perpetuate Gotham's corruption. Here it is revealed that Jack Napier is known by the other characters to be a little, batty.
I answer to Grissom, not to psychos. Why, Eckhart, you ought to think about the future. I mean, when you run the show, you ain't got no future, Jack. You're an A1 nuts boy, and Grissom knows it.
So, Jack's subsequent transformation into the Madman Joker is just a small tipping point for Jack, not a huge plunge into madness. In the following scene, the audience sees that none of the other reporters take Knox and his Batman story seriously, one man even handing Knox a picture of a Batman drawn by Bob Kane, one of the Batman creators. Bob Kane was initially supposed to play the man's role, but scheduling conflicts got in the way. The audience is also introduced to Basinger's Vicky Vale, a prized photographer who joins forces with Knox, the only one to believe his story. In the following scene, Grissom is revealed to have known about Alicia's infidelity with Jack, and sets Jack up, making him the fall guy of an Axis Chemicals operation. The Joker playing card held up as Alicia enters the penthouse was not just on-the-nose foreshadowing of what was in store for Jack, but also acted as a warning to him. A warning that Grissom knew about her, causing Jack's alarm and distrust of Grissom, visible in their communication.
You are my #1 guy.
Jack reluctantly agrees to the operation.
Don't forget, you're lucky, Jack.
After this, Vicky and Knox attempt to speak to Police Commissioner Gordon at billionaire philanthropist Bruce Wayne's charity event in an attempt to get some solid proof of the existence of the Bat for their story. In this scene, both Michael Gough's Alfred and Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne are revealed, the two of them easily stealing the scene.
Can I help you, sir? Oh, thanks. Thank you very much. It's very nice. Here you go.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Could you tell me which of these guys is Bruce Wayne?
Well, I'm not sure.
Thanks, Dave.
Remember, the more they've got, the less they're worth.
And this guy must be the most worthless guy in America.
King of the wicker people. Oh, where'd this come from?
I have no idea.
It's Japanese.
How do you know?
Because I bought it in Japan. Oh, I read your work. I like it. I like it a lot.
Oh, thanks. Can I have a grant?
Vicky Vale.
Hi. Bruce Wayne.
Are you sure?
Yeah, this time.
Keaton plays Bruce Wayne quite well. Not the snobby rich guy persona that the modern Bruce Wayne plays to cover for his true personality.
That last martini was too many, I think.
Men's room's upstairs.
Great. I'm okay. I like those shoes.
But instead, Keaton plays a charming but aloof rich guy with a quirky sense of humor around those he feels comfortable. Bruce is then informed by Alfred of Commissioner Gordon's Axis Chemicals tip and quickly exits the charity event.
Oh, and give Knox a grant.
Nice talking with you, Wayne.
Following Gordon as Batman to Axis Chemicals, where Jack Napier quickly learns...
Been ratted out here, boys.
As a police shootout begins, Jack attempts to destroy the factory and Batman arrives to stop him.
Eckhart! Think about the future!
After Jack shoots Eckhart and attempts to shoot Batman, Batman's body armor deflects the bullet into a nearby machine, causing a stream of chemicals to burn Jack's face. In his pain and panic, Jack tumbles over the side of the balcony and into the vat of chemicals below. It's clear in this scene that Batman wanted to save Napier, despite his wrongdoing, which is directly juxtaposed with the ending of the film. After this, Vale goes on a date with Bruce Wayne.
Wayne, I'm not.
Which could be dangerous for Bruce, so he once again plays the aloof but charming billionaire character in a comically oversized dining room.
Do you like eating in here?
Oh, yeah. You wanna know the truth? I don't think I've ever been in this room before. Do you want to get out of here?
Seeming to fall for Vale a bit, Bruce then decides to bring her into a more quaint, comfortable area of the house, where Alfred shares stories about a young Bruce, helping the bond between Bruce and Vicky to grow stronger. Meanwhile, the audience is treated to a brief scene where Jack Napier, only shown from the back, is finished with facial reconstructive surgery.
You see what I have to work with here.
After seeing his disfigured face in a mirror, the thing he cared most about, his looks, taken from him by Batman and Grissom, Jack snaps and begins maniacally cackling, heading out of the operating room on his way to get revenge. In Grissom's penthouse, Jack reveals himself reborn as
Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.
and kills Grissom.
What a day.
Joker then sees Batman's headline.
Wayne freak terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
While Nicholson's Joker appearance is relatively similar to the comics, I've always felt his facial prosthetics impeded his performance, even though Nicholson was able to pick his own team to make them. However, the prosthetics were needed for this version of the character for the writing to make sense. First, Jack is a looks-obsessed gangster. Then that look is tarnished by Grissom and accidentally by Batman, and now Napier's face is so messed up that even covering it with his skin tone of makeup can't even make him look normal. He feels like his beauty was stolen, and now he's a freak. So he embodies one, attempting to not only get revenge on Batman and destroy Grissom's corrupt city, but also rob all Gothamites of their own beauty by poisoning beauty products, to make them suffer the same fate he did. Joker then threatens all of the Gotham crime bosses and gangsters into helping him run Gotham City into the ground, starting with the Gotham 200th Anniversary Festival. This is one of my personal favorite scenes.
We can't do business, why? We'll just shake hands. That'll be it. Yeah? I'm glad you did.
Also in the scene, Joker says the same thing to his goon named Bob that Grissom said to him.
Remember, you are my number one guy.
This is not only mocking Grissom, but shows that the Joker doesn't really care about the goons helping him at all. All Joker cares about is destroying Grissom's city and the other freak in it, Batman. Vicky Vale follows Bruce through Gotham, witnessing him placing a bouquet of flowers onto the spot where his parents were murdered. This allows Vale to find out about the Wayne family murders, despite Bruce's file being empty. After this, Bruce stops to watch a crowd of reporters interviewing a mob boss attempting to claim Grissom's empire, during which Joker shows up and kills the mobster in front of everyone.
The pen is truly mightier than the sword.
And escapes. So we've seen Batman meet Jack Napier, and now we have seen Bruce Wayne meet the Joker, meaning Batman and Joker must have a confrontation soon. I love how obsessed Bruce was in this scene, walking through flying bullets without a care, even seeing Vicky as Joker drives off but not uttering a single word to her. At the moment, the Bat's duty is far more important to Bruce than his love life, or anything else for that matter. It is also at this time that Joker's goon photographs Vale, likely due to her and Knox's story on the Batman. After seeing Vale's photo, Joker invites her to an art museum, pretending to be Bruce over the phone. Joker also begins using his background in chemistry to poison beauty products, leaving behind disfigured, smiling corpses after their usage. As mentioned, Joker doesn't want anyone using beauty products. He wants to take away Gothamites' good looks just like they were stolen from him. And if citizens disobey, they become a piece of Joker's artwork. A concept so crazy, it's perfect. At the art museum, Joker uses poison gas to kill all the attendees and defaces a majority of the works. Joker sets up a candlelight dinner with Vale to check out her work.
Crap. 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 Ah. That's good work.
Naturally, he only liked the photos featuring corpses. Joker has 3 separate but intermingling goals here. First, he wants Vale to photograph his artwork, such as his disfiguring of Alicia, to gain press coverage back from the Batman and steal Batman's pretty press girl. Second, he would like any information she has on Batman, and lastly, if nothing else, he wants to hook up. This is an 80s film after all. Batman saves Vale from the Joker, and the two engage in a well-done Batmobile car chase scene, escaping both Joker's armed goons and the police. At the Batcave, Batman gives Vale his findings on the chemical interactions Joker used for his killer beauty products and asks her to get them published. This would allow the press to begin wondering if Batman wasn't a foe, but a friend. This then further upsets Joker as Batman continues to steal his positive TV press coverage.
Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? This town needs an enema.
After returning Vale to her apartment, Alfred asks Bruce about her. Both of them can see there is something special about Vale, and Alfred asks,
If not now, when?
Which prompts Bruce to come clean to Vale, for if he was to be with her, to marry her, she will need to know all of him, that he is both Bruce Wayne, loving male counterpart by day, and Batman, crime-fighting vigilante by night. Luckily, Vale already met each of them. So, the next day, Bruce heads to Vale's apartment and attempts to nervously tell her the truth, before Joker interrupts, barging in and demanding Vale to be his new girl, since Alicia supposedly fell out of a window. Bruce is shot, secretly using a metal tray to protect himself from the bullet, but not before recognizing a line Joker says to him.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? I always ask that of all my prey.
Joker then appears on television to interrupt the cancellation of the 200th anniversary parade to state a truce. His reign of terror is over. He will dump $200 million in cash on the crowd at the festival and duke it out with the real terrorizer in Gotham City, Batman. Upon seeing this broadcast on the Bat computer, Bruce realizes that Jack Napier was the man who killed his parents. In the comics, the Joker didn't kill Bruce's parents. Rather, it's a random street thug named Joe Chill. There's people who like this change, and naturally, people who don't.
I plead innocent. Didn't do it. I did not have the Joker being the murderer of Batman's parents. That was something that Tim had wanted, from early on, and I had a bunch of arguments with him and wound up, talking him out of it for as long as I was on the script.
There's certain little punch-up things you want to do, dialogue here, this, a little bit more Joker this, Batman that, little things. But those little things end up sort of turning into big things.
In all honesty, I think this change helps to fuel the fire between Batman and the Joker, enhancing the drama of the story and conflict between the characters. Bruce turns to see Vicky Vale in the Batcave, led in by Alfred, since Bruce failed to tell Vale his secret earlier. Many fans also despised that Alfred did this.
People complain that, by letting Vicky Vale into the Batcave, that was too much. So it's a difficult crowd to please.
I didn't write that one either. I mean, I've been asked about it so many times. That's the one that they asked me about. Is, how could you have Alfred just let Vicky into the Batcave? And I have to say, I agree with you. That is Alfred's last day of employment at Wayne Manor. The shooting schedule had gotten to the point where things had to be kind of wrapped up quickly there, and that's how that came about.
The point of Vale and Wayne's love life, the drama between the characters, their dynamic, is meant to reflect the real-life struggles of love and duty, of time spent with one's loved ones and time spent at work. The struggle between a work-life balance, which even the creatives behind the film struggled with during the production.
It was a tough shoot during the winter of '88, December, long nights. We used to be filming up on the Gotham streets, and you'd start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was already dark in England, and you'd film right through till 5 or 6 in the morning. It was still dark. You never saw daylight, and it went on for weeks on end.
It was a difficult shoot because it was, for the entire shoot, it was a 6-day shoot. But I don't think I'd ever do it again because it was a difficult shoot that way. And it was, in the winter at night. So, for 3 months, I didn't think I saw daylight at all.
See, Alfred loves Bruce, and Bruce loves Alfred. And both understand Bruce's sense of duty to be Batman, to stop criminals, to prevent what happened to him from happening to anyone else. Alfred believes that Bruce and Vicky can find that same line between their need for love and time spent together and Bruce's duty as Batman. despite Alfred more or less forcing Bruce to confront the line between love and duty in this scene. It's obvious that Alfred understands he won't be around to love Bruce forever, that someone else must be there for Bruce to love when Alfred no longer could. The Gotham 200th anniversary celebration begins, and the Joker pours millions in fake cash on the crowd, his face on the counterfeit bills, referencing his earlier joke.
What do you want?
My face on the $1 bill.
You must be joking.
Do I look like I'm joking?
The gritty attendees attempting to hoard the bills are so focused that they fail to even recognize the bills are fake. Then, as the attendants are distracted with the bills, the Joker begins to kill everyone using his signature Smilex gas, which was used to inflate the balloons. In an epic flying scene, Batman captures the balloons with the Batwing, attempting to save people in the crowd.
He stole my balloons!
Batman attempts to finally kill the Joker, realizing that such a murdering maniac cannot be left on the loose. Somehow, the Batwing's ammunition misses Joker, and Joker shoots the Batwing down with a comically long gun. Joker then attempts to make his escape by helicopter, which requires him to climb the nearby cathedral. He forces Vicky Vale to head up with him. Batman is revealed to have survived the crash, and though his consciousness is fading in and out, he painstakingly follows Joker and Vale up the skyscraping, iconic cathedral. This scene was very different in the original version of the script.
Jack and John Peters go to see the Phantom of the Opera. And at the end of Phantom of the Opera, there's a scene where she goes up to the tower. And the Phantom and the big conflict at the end, the big climax, takes place at the tower. I don't know how the story went, if John turned to Jack, Jack turned to John, but said, you know, this is what we need. And the next day, they started writing that scene, the whole ending in the tower.
With the recent release of the Phantom of the Opera musical, Basinger was inspired to replicate that dynamic between Batman and the Joker, and convinced Burton and others to change the script, to evolve the story. After Joker and Vale, tailed by Batman, arrive in the Belfry and Batman beats all of Joker's thugs, the final confrontation between Batman and Joker begins.
You made me, remember? You dropped me into that vat of chemicals. That wasn't easy to get over. Don't think that I didn't try. I know you did.
You killed my parents.
What are you talking about?
I made you. You made me first.
I made you. You gotta say you made me. How childish you get, huh? Wouldn't hit a guy with glasses on, would you? Huh?
The two admit to creating each other and wanting to destroy each other because of it. Their one-sided fight comes to a close when Joker manages to pull both Vale and Batman over the side of the cathedral and attempts to kick them off the ledge. When Joker's getaway helicopter arrives, he attempts to weasel his way out once again, as he had throughout the film. Batman attempts to trap the Joker on the roof using his grapple gun to secure Joker to a gargoyle. This causes Joker to slip off the ladder and plunge to his death on the Gotham City streets below. This Batman may not like to kill, but understands that if it must be done in the line of duty to protect innocents, then it must. While it can be debated whether or not Batman intended the gargoyle to kill Joker, or if it was an accident just like Axis Chemicals, a lot of people hated the Batman killing aspect, and would also hate it when done so in future Batman films. This is because despite Batman originally killing bad guys in the comics, even with guns, the development over time of Batman's no guns and no killing rules are what many people believe make Batman heroic. This is also what would separate the Red Hood and Batman's ideologies in the comics years later. However, because this film is centered on the negatives of only focusing on one's own vanity and even more so on the line between love and duty, Joker, acting as an unstoppable killing force, must die for Batman's line of duty, saving people, to be truly successful. I don't love it, but I understand it. Upon Joker's death, Batman leaves a note for Commissioner Gordon, telling Gotham he will be back to protect them should the forces of evil rise again, and leaves the police with the classic bat signal for them to beckon him with. Vale enters Alfred's car after saying goodbye to Knox and his story on Batman, and tells Alfred she is fine with Bruce being a little late because of work. He is, after all, Batman. Thus accepting, just as Alfred had hoped, that she could love and care for Bruce, and he could do the same for her, but also allow time for his desire, his need, his duty as the Dark Knight, as Batman. Along with the ideas of the negatives of vanity and power presented in the film, Batman was largely a film about the line between love and duty, and how Alfred and Vicky helped Bruce to find that line and alter it throughout the trials and tribulations of the Joker's reign of terror in Gotham, a line that Bruce had already established with father figure Alfred. Alfred, just like many comics and future film iterations, understood that Bruce needed to expand his circle of love, push the boundaries of Bruce's line between love and duty, as Alfred wouldn't be around forever. And while the Bat might work alone, the little orphaned boy the Bat grew out of shouldn't be alone. Without love, humanity's greatest strength, Batman could not possibly be the hero Gotham City truly needs. Batman released and immediately became a critical and financial success, with a total box office haul of over $400 million, despite what was deemed as the studio's Hollywood accounting painting the film as a financial loss for tax purposes. Viewers adored Keaton and Nicholson as Batman and the Joker respectively, as well as Danny Elfman's iconic theme, used as the main Batman theme time and time again since the film's release. Batman received multiple Saturn Award nominations and a Golden Globe nomination for Jack Nicholson's Joker performance. Batman was awarded the Academy Award for Best Art Direction, rightfully so, as Burton's unique Art Deco Gothic visual style given to Gotham City helped to make the city almost a character in and of itself. Mixing industrial buildings with skyscraping Gothic gargoyle-covered cathedrals, Gotham City had never felt so alive on screen. Though eventually Burton and Keaton would leave their roles in the production of the Batman films after the first sequel, the initial Batman film was so popular that it led to 3 direct sequels, forming a Batman quadrilogy. The coming films would be 1992's Batman Returns, 1995's Batman Forever, and 1997's Batman and Robin. Before we take a look back at the sequels and their tie-ins in future documentaries, let's take a look back at Batman 1989's merchandise, including video games, novelizations, and, of course, toys and collectibles. With the wild success of Batman 1989, thanks to what was known as Batmania, company executives naturally greenlit the releases of a tie-in video game, just in time for the '89 holiday season, though some versions were released throughout the following year. Ocean developed the computer versions of the Batman game, Sunsoft developed home console versions, and Nomega developed the Batman arcade game published by Atari. The most well-known tie-in Batman game was likely Sunsoft's very difficult but quite fun Nintendo Entertainment System version. But first, let's take a look back at Ocean's microcomputer releases. Ocean's Batman game consisted of releases for 7 separate microcomputers, with either 8-bit or 16-bit processors. 8-bit versions of Batman were developed for the MSX, the ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC, and Commodore 64. While each version was highly similar, with the same screen layout and stages, half side-scrolling platformer, half driving stages, there were definitely some that were better than others. Some versions, like the MSX, had absolutely no music and hardly any sound effects. The Commodore 64 version's Batmobile driving and Batwing flying stages were the best functioning and were quite fun. Ocean's 16-bit microcomputer releases consisted of versions for the IBM PC-DOS, Atari ST, and the Commodore Amiga. The Amiga version was included in a bundle with the Amiga and 3 other games. Known as the Batman Pack, the bundle was heavily backed with television advertisements and was cited as a turning point for the Amiga due to the popularity of the bundle. The Ocean games all generally followed the film, beginning at Axis Chemicals, then a Batmobile driving stage, next isolating the chemicals Joker added to the beauty products, saving Gothamites from the iconic Poison Balloon Parade in the Batwing, and lastly, a fight to the death with the Joker in the Cathedral. Several other Batman tie-in games were developed by Sunsoft for home consoles. The Sega Genesis version was relatively similar to the Ocean microcomputer games, intermixing driving stages and side-scrolling platforming stages. The controls were a little stiff, but out of all of the home console releases, the Genesis version is the best adaptation of the film, as just like the Ocean versions, the game follows the film fairly well and is fun. The Genesis version's punchy music and moody graphics also help capture the film's atmosphere. The TurboGrafx-16 version was the most different of the Sunsoft games, an overhead maze-style game. The gameplay itself is quite simple. The player collects the items and beats the thugs and moves on to the next stage. It's quite similar to the arcade game Mappy. But even though I enjoy Mappy, this was not the ideal version of a Batman tie-in game, though some of the cutscenes do look quite good. The Game Boy version is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. It's weird seeing Batman run around with a gun, and the graphics aren't too great aside from cutscenes, but overlooking those gripes, it's a fun play. Lastly, Sunsoft's release for the Nintendo Entertainment System would go down in history as one of the best Batman games, even spawning a figurine years later that featured the purple and blue colors used for the in-game sprite to help Batman stand out from the dark in-game backgrounds. The NES version of Batman was a highly difficult but highly engaging side-scrolling platformer. The game featured additional bosses not in the film, multiple weapons to select from, and a wall-jumping mechanic reminiscent of Ninja Gaiden. The graphics are decent, the music is awesome, and the gameplay is difficult. Good luck getting to the Joker. Like I said, exceptional music and a difficult but great game. As mentioned before, this is regarded as one of the best Batman games, and one of the best games on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Lastly, in 1990, a Batman arcade game based off of the film was developed by Nomega and published by Atari. The game features voice samples from the film, and even a digitized version of Danny Elfman's iconic Batman theme. The game was a side-scrolling beat-em-up and shared many similarities to the Sega Genesis game. The graphics were fantastic, colorful, and full of life, and the gameplay was fun. The Batmobile stages are far more brutal than any other versions of Batman the movie the game, in that the player is clearly blowing up other cars with a huge explosive gun directly within the player's view. The '89 Batman had no problem killing people when absolutely necessary, but this seems more like the Punisher's handiwork. Though the arcade cabinet itself simply used promotional photos for the film as the artwork, which could be seen as cheap, especially the side panels, the cabinet was regarded by many as underrated. The Batman movie video game tie-ins from Ocean, Sunsoft, and Nomega varied in quality, but were largely seen as great games, some even fantastic. The film also had printed tie-ins. To go along with the release of the film, Craig Shaw Gardner published the film's novelization through Hatchet Book Group USA. The novelization included scenes cut from the film, such as the very horseback riding scene that caused Sean Young to drop out of the Vicky Vale role due to injuries practicing for the scene. Batman's novelization was a New York Times bestseller, remaining towards the top of the list throughout all of 1989. According to Gardner, Batman's ending was changed at the last minute, the day before the book was to go into production. The editor couldn't get in touch with me, so he got longtime Batman comic book writer Dennis O'Neil to rewrite the couple of paragraphs that needed changing. Along with Batman's novelization, the film's fans would also see the release of a tie-in comic adaptation by famed Batman author Dennis O'Neil, with art from Jerry Ordway. The adaptation shared few differences from the film, aside from condensing some scenes and explaining potentially confusing instances in the film better to readers. A deleted scene was also kept in this adaptation, showing Batman disguising Knox as Batman to slip away easily. The comic was well liked among fans of the film, even being reprinted in the Batman the Movie's paperback collection and recolored in 2019 in a 30th anniversary hardcover deluxe edition. For fans interested in behind-the-scenes looks of the film, 2 separate documentaries were produced looking behind the scenes of the Batman production. First, timed to release in June 1989 alongside the release of the film, was Batman, The Making of a Hero. The documentary focused mostly on producers Peter Gruber and John Peters' journey to make the film, showcasing unique behind-the-scenes views into the sets, costumes, and more. The documentary starred Robert Wool in his Alexander Knox attire, giving history for the Batman mythos, as well as interviewed Batman creator Bob Kane. Second, a documentary mentioned several times throughout this documentary, Shadows of the Bat, the cinematic saga of The Dark Knight, was released in multiple parts on the special features discs in the 2005 Batman Motion Picture Anthology 8-disc DVD set. This documentary gave a unique behind-the-scenes look, years after the film had been produced, allowing actors, directors, and others involved to look back on their work and time spent during production. Also taking a look behind the scenes of the film, art style, and featuring unique interviews and anecdotes from production members, Batman the Official Book of the Movie came out alongside the film's release. The book is a neat collector's piece, giving more insight into the making of the film.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
There was also a Batman motion picture cassette featuring the film's soundtrack by Prince at the height of his career. The MTV Batmobile contest previously mentioned took place during the airing of Prince's Bat Dance video on MTV. Though far goofier than the film, Prince's Bat Dance and overall soundtrack certainly helped to push Batmania, with the popularity of Prince's own brand.
Batman's battle against crime never ends, and now you can bring the action home.
Batman, haha, you missed. Yeah, but I only missed once. You can't escape Joker. Just watch if you can. You won't be alone for long.
And in the Batcave,
no criminal can hide from Batman. Batman, gotta run to jail.
Each item sold separately from Toy Biz.
Now for what you've all been waiting for. Toys, toys, and more toys. Collectibles, collectibles, and more collectibles. Batman merchandise flew off the shelves in '89, selling about $750 million worth, nearly double the film's box office. During the opening weekend of the film, this brochure was distributed to moviegoers by many theaters and details several high-ticket items for dedicated fans. The pamphlet included a Batcave with figurines of Batman and the Joker, along with the Batmobile and Batwing, Batman playing cards, a $500 rhinestone jacket, posters, mugs, a window cling, and more. Though some items boasted a high price tag, the catalog aimed to cash in on Batmania, with some unique and cool movie tie-in products. Topps released trading cards that were so popular they had to issue a second series so fans would have more to collect. Back when trading cards included gum. Wouldn't want to taste that now. Topps also released these candy heads, I guess Joker resembled the art they disfigured, but I think there's just a little lack of paint on that one. Toy Biz released one of the most popular Batman action figures ever, with flashy gold packaging. Alongside Batman, Toy Biz also released the Joker, Bob the Joker's Goon, the Batcave, and Batmobile. This toy, specifically Batman, flew off the shelves. For Halloween, Batman fans could dress up like the Joker with the Joker's makeup kit. And for those that didn't feel like makeup, there were also Ben Cooper masks released with a not very screen-accurate Joker costume included. The costume was clearly cheaply made, but many are nostalgic for the Cooper costumes nevertheless. Cooper Costumes also released Batman masks, along with this strange double-sided mask featuring both Batman and the Joker. Speaking of dressing up, Toy Biz, the same brand that produced some of the action figures, also released an accessory playset, complete with the Batman utility belt, gauntlets, spear gun that shot rubber suction cups, the Bat chest emblem, and a Batarang. This set would have made any kid feel like the Caped Crusader. The total list of Batman film tie-in merchandise was extensive, and there has never been a complete published list. However, it is clear that with even the extent I have shown, and with Michael Keaton's Letterman comments about merchandise.
Now, do you get a piece of the merchandising? Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. Do they ever ask you, Michael, what about the Batman socks, or what about the...
You mean my approval?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hysterical. When you have to approve your own stuff and you get your likeness, and it's just hysterical. And I keep, putting Jay Leno's picture in there because of the jaw, No, but they've gone nuts now because it's extended into other areas.
Tongue depressors, everything. Medical supplies.
Exactly, yeah. Medical supplies. They got the new Batman oxygen tent.
Right, reflex hammers. They got
the whole thing.
Batmania and Bat merchandise was everywhere during 1989. It was the time to be a fan of the Batman. Batman 1989's popularity is still seen today. Nearly 4 decades later, Keaton's Batman character has been revived multiple times in modern comics and films. In 2021, Sam Hamm, the initial screenwriter for the '89 Batman film, decided to return to the character's universe, publishing a limited DC Comics series simply titled Batman '89. The series acted as a direct continuation of 1989's Batman and direct sequel to Batman Returns. The short 6-issue series was successful, showing brand new villains and more, like Billy D. Williams' Two-Face as originally intended, the return of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, and the introduction of a brand new Robin. The Batman '89 comic run was followed up with Batman '89 Echoes, introducing Harley Quinn and Scarecrow as villains. 2 unrelated sequel novels were also written by John Jackson Miller, titled Batman Resurrection, released in 2024, and Batman Revolution, released in 2025. Batman Resurrection was a direct sequel to the '89 Batman film, ignoring everything else, and detailing the supposed return of the Joker thanks to the shape-shifting ability of a man deemed Clayface, disfigured from Joker's Smilex gas. Clayface, Hugo Strange, and, in a way, the Joker, are the main villains of the story, resembling the lineup of Batman Arkham City, even down to Clayface posing as the Joker. The sequel, Batman Revolution, introduced the Riddler into Tim Burton's Batman universe, who aims to uncover secrets of Gotham's past. Michael Keaton's Batman and what has been deemed the Burtonverse have not only been revived in print. In 2021, it was officially announced that Michael Keaton would be returning to his iconic Batman role, having been vocally proud of his portrayal at events.
And I've got 2 words that I want you all to remember. They're very important. And if I leave you with anything, I'm going to leave you with these 2 words. And those 2 words are, I'm Batman.
Keaton would return as Batman in the upcoming and highly anticipated 2023 DC Extended Universe film directed by Andy Muschietti called The Flash. The Flash, about lead character Barry Allen going back in time to save his mother's life,
Don't forget the tomato. See you soon.
Only to wind up completely altering the future, allowing for the return of Michael Keaton's Batman. Despite being several decades older, Keaton's return was triumphant and often stole the show while on screen. Muschietti's direction for Batman's fight scenes resembled the Arkham games and was quite well done. Just like Batman and Batman Returns, Keaton's Batman was heartfelt when he needed to be, and cool when he needed to be cool. Keaton was also announced to be starring in future DC Extended Universe projects due to the current Batman star, Ben Affleck's reported discontent with how the current executives are running the DC film projects. Keaton starred alongside Leslie Grace's Barbara Gordon and Brendan Fraser's Firefly in what was supposed to be an HBO Max exclusive film, Batgirl. However, in 2022, the film was cancelled despite being nearly complete for a major tax write-off. It's a shame fans never got to see Keaton and fellow cast members in this promising project. Keaton was also rumored for several other DC projects at the time, such as a live-action Batman Beyond film, but such rumors seem to have come to a close since James Gunn's takeover and reboot of the DC film universe. Though cut short by shifting dynamics within Warner Brothers, Keaton's on-screen return as Batman signified that fans still love and feel nostalgia for his take on Batman to this day, and are excited to return to the Burtonverse Batman whenever they can. Furthermore, new Batman 89 merchandise is still being produced to this day, signifying the long-lasting popularity of Keaton's take on the character. But hey, we're taking a look back, right? Let's get out of modern times and go back to 1989. Following the release of Batman in theaters and seeing Batmania ripple through the United States, executives immediately greenlit a sequel with plans for a trilogy. Batman would return in 1992, once again directed by Tim Burton, and starring Michael Keaton as Batman. The film, written by Daniel Waters and Sam Hamm, the latter of which would once again drop out of the project just like during the development of the previous film, would showcase Batman facing off against Penguin and Catwoman. 3 years after the release of the classic Batman film in 1989, fans would once again get to see their favorite character on the silver screen in 1992's Batman Returns. The summer of 1989 was the summer of Batman. Batmania tore through the nation, leading to hundreds of millions in merchandise and ticket sales. Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Kim Basinger, and director Tim Burton's brand new film Batman was a hit and paved the way for superhero films for years to come. Keaton's Batman is still popular to this day, and when fans think back to the greatest Batman films ever made, they are still likely to point to the gothic, pulpy 1989's Batman.
We're both sports fans. Back then when we were shooting Batman, you would have to send tapes over the Lakers games, and no one could know the score, and then would go into the in between and be standing there in a rubber suit watching the Laker games in his dressing room.
Why didn't any get a shot of that? That would have been a great photo.